Warning: Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you haven't done so yet, please hit that link in the description to change.org and go and put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family, there's a lot of things that's been going on since the situation with the California reparations assembly not bringing up the two bills that would have benefited the descendant of freedmen within California. And there's a few things that I want to talk about today, family, because there's this notion that Black Americans need to apologize to those assembly members, which we don't. Gavin Newsom's running around here running his mouth like he got any type of say so in the black community, which he don't. Only say so he has is with those bootlicks up there in California, the ones that he like twisted their arm to kill the bill. But he's running around here talking about how they didn't deserve that and all this other nonsense. Yes, they absolutely do. They absolutely do, and they absolutely did. And I want to play what he said, and then we're going to get into my critique, family. So let's go.
Demonstrators.
While we're on this subject of bills, I just want to know, what did you know about the bills not being brought to the floor? The two critical reparation bills, Senate Bill 1403 and Senate Bill 13.
Forgive me, because there's over 1,000. I'm not very good at the numeric, but
family, that was a load of crock of bullshit. A load of crock of bullshit. Let me tell you why I know that, or how I know that. Because while he's sitting there talking about there's over 1,000 of them, so I don't know it. There's only two predominant bills that's been anticipated throughout California when it came to this assembly. And the news has even admitted it after the bill was shut down, when we read in the other article that spoke about how they were the most predominant bills to be brought to the floor. Or, well, that should have been brought to the floor. So when he says, forgive me because there are thousands of them, this, that, and the third, all the ones that had nothing to do specifically with Black Americans passed. The two that you didn't want to sign, that you wanted to veto, were the ones that they were speaking about, and I know he knows that. There was only two. So all that was over 1,000. I don't know. That's bull crap.
Agency.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. What I do know is
Bradford's desk on August 26th.
As it relates, well, hold on.
Notice how he tried to start his little political lie tactic, and the brother who was asking the question kind of cut him off. Notice the look that he gave. He was so irritated by that because he was about to get into this whole little spew. Here's what I do know about that. And then the brother cut him off and continued his question. Look at the man's face and how this man responds to the brother doing that.
I do know is Tariq, but
An agency.
yeah, I know a little bit about that. What I do know is
Bradford's desk.
Did you see the way the man rolled his eyes, family? When he cut him off to continue his question, because he's saying that, you know, what I do know about that. And he was like, you know, well, these are some things that's been on Braddock's desk. So like, you know, the man rolled his eyes. Now, I don't know exactly what the reporter said there, but the man rolled his eyes.
yeah, I know a little bit about that. What I do know is
Bradford's desk on August 26th.
as it relates,
You're off.
well, hold on. We work with the legislature throughout the legislative process on amendments. Sometimes they advance those amendments, sometimes they don't take our amendments, and those bills are sent to my desk.
So what just happened there is, one, he proved himself to be a liar because he says that their department works with the legislation, with the amendments and things like that. And sometimes they make the amendments, sometimes they don't. But he just acted as if he didn't know what the bills were in the first place. Of course you knew what the bills were, because you sent the amendments that you wanted done to the bill directly from you. And when he elected not to add those amendments, you had the other bootlicks kill the bill. You had the other bootlicks kill the bill because he didn't want to include your amendments, which was going to basically put it back into a study. So he just showed you right there that he just outright lied. He just outright lied. Trying to outwit us. Oh, I barely know about that bill, but yet you sent crucial amendments to the bill to block the bill from doing its intended purpose, only to create another study that California just came out of. Let's continue, family.
I think you're referencing bills that were not sent to my desk that did not pass through the legislature. As it relates to the broader issue of reparations, which I appreciate both of you referencing, we work very closely with the Black Caucus on a package of reparations reforms. We met before the legislative session, we met during the legislative session. We worked very collaboratively on amendments. We also worked on bills without amendments. And I think the vast majority of those that we agreed to and worked collaboratively together with the Black Caucus have ended up on my desk. I'll be reviewing them all on the merits, and I want to applaud the head of the Black Caucus, Lori Wilson, who's been spectacular.
And I want to applaud my head coontress. I would love to applaud my head bedwench because, you know, she was immaculate on the situation. Notice the only two that didn't accept his amendments didn't end up on his desk, which were the only two that specifically benefited Black Americans. But because he worked with the Black legislator, the Black Caucus, in order to create this so-called reparation package that has no direct benefit to the descendants of the enslaved here, the descendants of freedmen here. It has no direct benefit to it. So of course he would like that package better, and of course he would glorify those bootlicks for not bringing the two bills that actually would have done something to the floor.
in advancing those bills, their principles, and advancing them in a collaborative spirit.
Much under fire about those two critical bills that did not make it to your desk.
Well, those bills, you'll have to ask them, the legislature, why those didn't land on my desk.
Because of you, sir. Because of you. That's why it didn't land on your desk. The two most critical bills, as the man said, didn't land on your desk, and he tries to put it on the Black Caucus. Well, you gotta ask them. I don't know why they didn't get it through, but you gotta ask them. As if he didn't have anything to do with it, as if it wasn't this widely known situation that he was going to veto those bills if they got put on his desk, and he didn't want that spotlight put on him because he has aspirations for running for president in 2028. But he don't know what's happening. You gotta ask the Black Caucus. Well, we're gonna ask a member of the Black Caucus, and we're going to ask a member of the Republican caucus, and we're going to see if their answers, match up. But let's continue.
Did you tell the Black Caucus that you would veto the reparations agency and reparations fund?
I didn't talk directly to anyone about those two bills. As it relates to the process of how bills are done broadly in the state, there's a collaborative process. People ask our opinions. Are there concerns? Issues that have dollar figures are consistently marked.
Notice what he just said, family. The woman asked him, did you tell them that you would veto the bill? And his response was, I didn't talk to anybody directly. The process of how things work when making these bills is that, we work with them with these bills, on these bills. So basically what he said was, yeah, I shut it down. It got brought up to me. I told my staff I'd veto those bills. I don't want that. So have those Negroes veto the bill. Better yet, don't even have them bring it up. Put it in the invalid pile so nobody will be able to bring it up this session again. Or whatever the hell the damn pile is called. That's basically what he just said. I'm going to replay that, and we're going to listen to it again.
Applaud the head of the Black Caucus, Lori Wilson, who's been spectacular in advancing those bills, their principles, and advancing them in a collaborative spirit.
Much under fire about those two critical bills that did not make it to your desk.
Well, those bills, you'll have to ask them, the legislature, why those didn't land on my desk.
Did you tell the Black Caucus that you would veto the reparations agency and reparations fund?
I didn't talk directly to anyone about those two bills. As it relates to the process of how bills are done broadly in the state, there's a collaborative process. People ask our opinions. Are there concerns? Issues that have dollar figures are consistently marked.
People ask our opinions, our concerns, which he voiced, in which he continued to voice up until the day they had to vote on it. Because they had the votes. Apparently they had the votes. But it was Mr. Newsom here that did not want the vote to hit the floor. Let's continue with this because I have a couple more clips that I want to get to as well.
Consistently, if it wasn't done on the budget, that's going to be a challenge. There's always exceptions to that, but that's going to be a challenge. And that was a process that unfolded over the course, as I said, of months, particularly as it relates to the reparations package, in partnership with the Black Caucus. And there was no daylight with Lori Wilson and the Black Caucus as it relates to the work that we did collaboratively together. And let me just, on a personal note.
Now, before we get into that little personal note, notice how he made sure, and he continues to make sure, that he keeps saying in collaboration with the Black Caucus. In collaboration with the Black Caucus, which means they've been contacting the Black Caucus consistently. While he's acting like, oh, I only know a little bit about those bills. But yet, you keep saying in collaboration with the Black Caucus. Let's continue.
And forgive me about this. She did not deserve to be attacked like she was attacked.
Yes, she did. They all do. They all do. And when I say attacked, I'm not meaning like somebody going up and physically harming them. I'm meaning holding their feet to the fire because they're supposed to represent us as representatives, and they shown themselves to be the enemy of our people. And who the hell are you to tell us who deserves what? You think because you white, you could just say what should be going on with the representative of Black Americans? See, this is the cocky nonsense that people don't like. You ain't nobody's daddy around here. Now, them bootlicks might call you zaddy. Them coons might call you zaddy. But Black Americans, the foundational Black Americans, no. You're literally, when I say literally, you're literally a speck to us, a speck within the whole white supremacist system, to be more exact. We don't give a damn what you have to say. But let's let him continue to say it. For the people in the back.
Members of the Black Caucus did not deserve to be attacked and their integrity impugned. That was disgraceful.
No, what was disgraceful is killing 2 actual bills that actually help your constituents. What's disgraceful is y'all giving billions of dollars to illegals for down payments for housing, no mortgage loans, free health care to a bunch of illegals. That's disgraceful, all while working against the common interest of Black Americans. That's disgraceful. The fact that you're even standing in front of us as the governor of California is disgraceful, Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Nancy Pelosi, your auntie, is disgraceful. What we did is called politics. And what we continue to do is called politics. Let's continue.
There were members of that Black Caucus that are owed an apology for being treated the way they were treated, to be doxxed, to be personally maligned and attacked. So forgive me for expressing that. Great respect and admiration for the leadership of the Black Caucus and members of the Black Caucus.
Translation: y'all shouldn't be treating my bootlicks like this. Y'all should be falling in line. I said my bootlicks deserve an apology, and you guys should give them an apology. Gavin, you can kiss the whole entire darkest part of my ass. The blackest part of my ass. Matter of fact, I don't got a spot that's black enough. You can go into the forest and find the baboon with the darkest ass and kiss that. Find the animal with the darkest ass and kiss that. Because don't nobody give a flying fuck about what you have to say or how you want your bootlicks treated. This is a new dawn and a new day. If you show yourself to be an enemy of the people will make you the enemy of us too. They had one job. One job. And you think that we're supposed to just let everything be bygones and just let people live peacefully after they literally spit in the face of black Americans, mocked us, acted as if we do not matter? Oh, no. We don't give a flying fuck. I have to make sure I stress that out. And for all the people who hate to hear the curse words, I apologize, but some things just gotta be emphasized. We don't care. We do not care. Now let's head over to this next clip here, where we have Senator Stephen Bradford, the person who actually wrote the bills, explaining in his own words exactly what happened. Let's get into it, family.
So what now? State Senator Stephen Bradford is the vice chair of California's Legislative Black Caucus and an author of the reparations legislation. Sir, thank you for being with me. And you sponsored the bill to get the Bruce Beach land back to the family it was taken from 100 years ago. You've been out front on reparations. What happened here? Why did these bills not fail, but not even get a vote?
I wish I could answer that question. It's probably the greatest disappointment in my 26 years of being an elected official, to totally be blindsided by these bills that had no opposition, had no amendments to them, had sailed through the Senate with no problem, had sailed all the way through the Assembly, getting out of Assembly probes with no amendments, and sat on the Assembly floor ready to be taken up for 3 weeks. And we had planned to take the bills up all last Wednesday, and at the last minute we got all these red flags. We're afraid of a veto, and we did a vote count. We hit the votes for the bills. The bills were in no trouble to get off the floor.
So they sailed to the Senate, they sailed to the Assembly, they ready to go. They did a vote count. They had the votes. At the last minute, it came down that they're afraid of them getting vetoed. I wonder where they would get the idea that they would get vetoed if there was no pushback on the bills in all that time. So when Gavin Newsom running around here talking about, I only know a little bit about the bill, he's a liar. And his nickname is shit. Straight up. Now, Tariq Nasheed did an interview with Bill Essayli, which was the Republican brother who tried to bring forth the bill to the floor and was basically stonewalled by the congressional black legislators. And I kind of want to get into, I want to get into that interview, because within that interview, there's some jewels that I picked up, and I would like to drop them for you so you can pick them up too, in case you didn't pick them up before. So let's get into it. This is Tariq Nasheed. If you don't follow him, go ahead and follow him at Tariq Radio. Let's get into this interview.
Bill, what exactly happened at the reparations assembly meeting, or it wasn't a reparations assembly meeting. They were introducing different bills, from what I understand, right?
Yeah. So, and actually wasn't too familiar with this prior to Saturday. You know, honestly, it's been primarily a Democratic effort, and they've been working on the bills. I had been working on them. So what happened was Saturday was the deadline to pass any bills in California. We have a deadline, midnight, August 31st. That's it. Everything has to be passed by that date.
Yeah.
So the two bills I think you're referring to by Senator Bradford would create the reparations task force or reparations bureau to oversee the process, and I think he had a bill to create a fund.
Yes.
These two bills passed the Senate, and they went to the Assembly. They got to pass both the Senate and the Assembly in California to make it to the governor. Well, my understanding is that the word came down from the governor's office to not pass the bills. He did not want the bills on his desk. Again, I'm not in the room with the Democrats, so I don't know. I'm just telling you what I heard happened.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't want the hot potato or the political football, whatever you want to call it.
See what I'm saying, family? He wanted the California legislator, the black legislative caucus, to destroy, dismantle, kill, or whatever you want to call it, that bill, so that he wouldn't have to veto it when it got to his desk, because he didn't expect for us to be so on code that we would get these two bills through all of the legal processes in order for him to get the bill on his desk. But we've been steady fast when it came to it. We've been standing on our square, which made them have to stand on the same square and push policies that actually would benefit the descendants of freedmen. And so when Bradford put those bills through and they actually got all the way through, all they needed was the vote. Him being Gavin Newsom, needed to pass the hot potato so that he wouldn't mess up his political aspirations. His bootlicks can take the hits for him. But the truth of the matter is, that's not working. You all gotta take the licks. You all gotta take the licks. Everybody catching these hands. Line them up. Newsom, you can be at the end, but you still catching these hands. You can be the final boss if you want to, but guess what? I'm still gonna whoop that ass. You still gonna catch these hands. Let's continue.
He didn't want it in his court, so he told him to not pass the bill. So I showed up to work like normal. I knew that was one of the many bills we were debating, and I just want to be fully transparent with you, because I think it's important that we have an honest conversation. I have not been supportive of the bills to date. I mean, I think it's a conversation we should have, because I don't know that I have a full understanding of what the reparations process would look like and all that stuff. But I just want to put that to the side for a minute. We're happy to have that conversation separately. But I want to just talk about what happened Saturday, which is I saw a bunch of frustrated Americans in the Capitol. They were in the Capitol. They were mad as hell, and they felt betrayed. And so I talked to a couple of them, like, what's going on? What's going on? They told me that they'd been working on this reparations bills. I think one of them is Camilla Moore. She was the attorney. She told me she was on the task force, and that the Democrats were now ignoring them, refusing to put the bills up for a vote, wouldn't talk to them, were walking by them, mocking them. And I thought that was rude and disrespectful. So they asked me if I would put the bill up for a vote. And, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Even if I don't agree with it, this is a deliberative body. We should have the conversation. We should have a debate, and we should take a vote so we know where everyone stands on the issue.
Now, while our so-called Democratic representatives was walking by mocking our people, this Republican man was approached by our people, asked by our people to present the bill, and even though he himself don't agree with reparations, he believes that the conversation needs to be had, but couldn't get a second. What does that tell you about the so-called people who represents us? The so-called people who represents us.
And then we have an election in 2 months, and then people know who stands for what, and you can vote accordingly and the whole thing. So I'm in favor of having the debate and discussing it and taking the vote. But the only way, there was a lot of games played. So I tried to bring it up just in regular order. They said I was out of order. We're not taking that bill up right now. So I said, okay, fine. I'll make a motion to take the bill up. And they said, well, you need a second. A second just means that one other member of the assembly has to join your motion, and then we would take it up for a vote, and not one person would agree to take it up with me. And then they pulled the bill. I was going to try it a third time, to be honest with you. And then they moved the bill to the...
So in my last broadcast, he just corrected me. In my last broadcast, I said I think that he tried to bring the bill up 3 times. Well, apparently he tried to bring it up twice, and then he was going to bring it up a third time, and he's going to tell you right here what happened with that. But let me run it back a little bit.
But the only way, there was a lot of games played. So I tried to bring it up just in regular order. They said I was out of order. We're not taking that bill up right now. So I said, okay, fine. I'll make a motion to take the bill up. And they said, well, you need a second. A second just means that one other member of the assembly has to join your motion, and then we would take it up for a vote, and not one person would agree to take it up with me. And then they pulled the bill. I was going to try it a third time, to be honest with you. And then they moved the bill to the inactive file, which really caught me off guard. I tried to challenge in the moment, but they didn't let me. The only way you can move a bill to the inactive file is if the author requests the bill to be moved into the inactive file. That's under our rules. Come to find out, they did that without the senator's consent or permission. So they just did it because they didn't want me to be able to keep trying to bring the bill up. So,
excuse me? So the only way you can move that bill into the inactive portion or whatever is if the author of that bill requests to have it moved to that portion. Come to find out, Bradford didn't. They just did it on their own. They did it on their own so that Bill Essayli wouldn't continue trying to bring up the bill. Oh, Eric Mays, please, brother.
I stick by it. I call you a handkerchief head Negro. I call him a handkerchief head Negro. And I'm sticking with it. Google it.
Yeah, family, and then, man, one more time.
I stick by it. I call you a handkerchief head Negro. I call him a handkerchief head Negro. And I'm sticking with it. Google it.
These folks are definitely handkerchief head Negroes. They are definitely handkerchief head Negroes. These people are openly showing you that they are your open enemy. They are your open enemy. let's continue, because he says a few more things that I really want to touch on.
That's the long story, you know, short version of the several hours that transpired on Saturday night on what happened with the bills.
Wow, that's interesting. So none of the Democrats that were there who were supposed to be stumping for this bill, nobody seconded your motion at all.
No, and in fact, when I stood up to make the request, there was like a 10-minute pause because they didn't know what to do, and I had a lot of members come up to me and just beg me to not do this. Please don't do this, please. You know, they said I was going to be endangering other members. They're getting threats on their lives, and I'm going to be, you know, responsible for that. I just don't, you know, I think we're all mature adults. As politics.
That right there struck me. The fact that they're running to this man, begging him, please not to bring the bill to the floor. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. You're putting our families' lives at risk. What about our families' lives? See, you want to run around here and try to pull this emotional little heartstring pull on this man, talking about how your family's at risk. You begin threats on your lives, but Black Americans have been getting threats on their lives daily for years, decades, centuries. So you're willing to block our success so that you can continue to have success. You're basically saying you want your family to be safe, but you don't give a damn about our families. This is basically what they were saying when they're begging a man, talking about you putting our families at risk. You getting threats on your lives? Call the FBI. If you were thorough enough, you could call the Black Grassroots and we'll send out some hitters for you to protect your family. But here's the problem. None of you are thorough with the Black Grassroots. Not whatsoever. You proved to us without a shadow of a doubt that you are our natural born enemies. That you are the coons that we said you were. You deliberately proved that. And mocked us while doing so. That's another reason why I don't believe this whole thing that their families are in danger and all this other stuff. You don't go around mocking the Black community if your family's in danger. You don't go around mocking the Black community if you're getting death threats. No. Even if you had to do what you had to do, you're not gonna mock somebody while doing it unless you get pure pleasure from doing it. Let's continue.
If someone's making threats, then, you know, we have law enforcement to deal with that. But I'm not gonna chill my speech and what I'm going to do based on what some crazy person does out there. I mean, so I don't know. That stuff doesn't work with me, but they try to emotionally manipulate me first, and then when they saw that I was not going to back down, then they just kind of hunkered down and came up with this other strategy to get rid of the bills.
And I applaud you, sir. I applaud you for that. Stand on your square. Do not allow yourself to be emotionally manipulated. I get that. But they thought it would work on him because that's what they're used to doing with us. They're used to trying to emotionally manipulate us. And I'm going to show an example of that just in a little bit. But that's why they tried to do it to him, because they tried to do it to us. And they think that it's going to work with him because in the past, it has worked with us. And even right now, it's working with some people. So I applaud you, sir, for standing on your square and not allowing yourself to be emotionally manipulated when it came to bringing that reparations bill to the floor. Let's continue.
By moving him to the inactive file.
Yeah. Now, as you said, I've seen some of your tweets in the past, and you seem like you were basically against reparations to a certain degree. So people would ask, if you were in the past against reparations, why would you push to move the bill forward from a personal standpoint?
Well, from a personal standpoint, I would say there's two things. One is I think reparations is a very broad term. So I guess we can have specific conversations. I'm not against making investments in our community, in particular communities or disadvantaged communities or whatever that looks like. I think Republicans have a lot of ideas of how to deal with some of the past inequalities and stuff that's happened, and how do we right that? How do we invest in the right place? So I think there's other ideas Republicans are open to, like school vouchers, so people can send their kids to private school instead of the failing public school. The other thing that really got me, and I'm going to be honest with you, this body, this legislature, voted this year to spend billions of dollars on illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. Healthcare, universal, free, unlimited healthcare. Anybody can show up here day one, and they're going to get free universal healthcare. That cost us $5 billion just this year to implement. Then they voted for this down payment assistance. So illegal immigrants would be able to get up to $150,000 for down payment assistance to buy a home. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be honest with you. If the question to me was, would I rather spend the $5 billion on illegal immigrants or spend it on, on Americans here on this reparations thing, I think I'd probably give it to the Americans. I'll just be honest with you.
Bada bing, bada boom. That simple, that plain. Even the Republican has the good common sense to know, well, if I have to choose between these illegals and foundational Black Americans, I would much rather it go to the reparations. And that's the kind of business we need to be able to have with each other. We need to be able to do business with both sides of the party and force them to push our agenda on both sides of the party. Now, moving on, I would like to get to this guy here, Bryan. He was the guy who blocked Bill Essayli. Matter of fact, let's play that. Let's play that.
This is assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes. You put Black folks in prisons, but now you want to be a reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill. I supported the bill all session.
You
will you vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it up.
I would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations
Bring it
together.
up. Bring it up.
You in, Bill?
Bring it up.
I didn't think so.
Bring it up. I'll vote for it.
You know, another thing that I noticed when rewatching that clip, dude tried to throw out this emotional argument. I brought this up prior in my last program that I did. He says, you vote for 3 strikes, but now you want to be a reparationist. And Bill says something that I didn't catch until I replayed it today, when he said, I wasn't around for 3 strikes. So what this man just did was try to tie him, because he's a Republican, to 3 strikes, so that we, as the people who's watching the video clip, would get emotional and wouldn't actually take the clip into account, or toss away all, what is it called? Toss away all the legitimacy in the clip. Then he said, oh, but you won't vote for the bill. You won't vote for the bill. Bill clearly tells him, bring it up. I'll vote for it. And he turns his back. We gonna watch that one more time.
So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes. You put black folks in prison, but now you want to be a reparations. But you won't vote for the bill. I supported the bill all session. Will you vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it
I
up.
would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations together.
And what makes it more egregious is the fact that this man keeps asking this man will he vote for the bill, knowing that they already had the votes. They have a super majority. So all this is the bells and all the bells and whistles crap. It's manufactured bullcrap, political nonsense. It's political theater. Because Senator Bradford clearly stated that what? We did a count. We had the votes. It sailed through everything and got stopped at the the voting process. They had the votes. So why are you asking this Republican man if he will vote for it? This is the nonsense that they're doing, family. This is the nonsensical bull stuff that they're doing, and they're trying to convince you. They're trying to convince you that they had all good agendas at heart, had good, my heart was in the right place when I did this. We had to make tough decisions. Now let's go to this guy's interview, because he had an interview with some radio chick, and let's hear what he had to say out of his own mouth.
And the second I got back, I reminded folks, and people who have propagated that video absent context, that's unfortunate. It's incredibly unfortunate, because if you know even the most basic of floor rules and floor procedures in Sacramento, you know that physically blocking somebody is not even a possible thing.
You know what I gotta do?
Send in the clowns.
So I feel bad for people who I've respected, like the Mark Lamont Hills and others, who continue to amplify a narrative that he created that has no basis in what was actually happening.
You think it was a mistake to not pass the bill at this point? Bills, 2 of them.
Personally, I do, and I let that be known. But I also think that this is an incredible Black caucus. There are incredible members of this caucus. Some who are the first Black representative ever from their area, right? Who are not just moving conversations, but to even talk about reparations. And there are parts of my own, because I understand the frustration, the hurt, and I'm sorry for that for folks. I really am, because I understand.
Is that an apology?
It's an apology from me, but not because some Republican is acting like I blocked him, which is not true at all.
No,
it's an
right
apology.
now,
It's an apology from me, because I know the feelings. I feel the feelings, and it's frustrating sometimes to
Family, how many of you guys can go and put that apology in the bank? How many of you guys can go and take that apology and pay your car note, pay your house note, pay your rent, pay your children's school note, pay whatever you need to pay with an apology? He said himself that they should have passed those damn bills. But then he want to go on and talk about how they got an amazing caucus. We don't give a damn about who's the first this, who's the first that, where, from whatever area, especially if they can't get 2 goddamn bills passed that we goddamn need. Y'all pass everything else for everyone else. But we're supposed to sit back because you say they're the first black from this area or the first black from that area. That does not make them amazing. That does not make them great. What makes you amazing, what makes you great, is getting into that position and doing what you're supposed to do for us, which was supposed to be passing those 2 bills that you two... Let me calm down. Those 2 bills that these idiots decided, that these bad witches and bad bucks decided to actually just kill. Because they Zaddy Newsom sent the word down. Now I get passionate when I talk about this stuff, family, because there is no stupidity in me when it comes to my people. I am a well-versed person. I am a well-read person. And you are not going to sit here and play with my intelligence in this manner. Or any manner. That bill should have been brought to the floor. You guys are 100% responsible. Bill Essayli was absolutely correct to try to force you guys to bring the bill to the floor. He was absolutely correct in trying to force a second out of you, not forcing a second from someone, which didn't happen, which showed you who the hell you guys really are. Which showed us, excuse me. I'm sure you already knew who the hell you were. But it showed us, as descendant of freedmen, who the hell you truly are, who the hell you truly represent. And that ain't us. Now, after Gavin Newsom gave his little piece of nothing speech, I received a message, a DM from one of the subscribers. Shout out to Drew Lasting. Hope I said your name right, family. And it says, he's saying, fortunately, hold on, let me see. Fortunately, that's not up to him. But he's responding to Yvette Cornell, and I can't see this because she has me blocked for some reason, even though I've never had a conversation with the woman. Even though I've never interacted with her on Twitter or anything like that, I'm blocked. But Drew says this, it says, their protest backfired. Yelling at lawmakers, name calling, and doxing was never a part of any productive strategy. He's done with y'all. He's done with y'all? Does this sound like somebody who's actually fighting for the power, the empowerment of black people, of the descendants of American slaves? Or does it sound like somebody with an ego going nah, nanny, nah, nah? That is some of the most egregious stuff to do if you're supposed to be in the fight with us. Because not everything that you're trying and your organization is working for you either. I could have swore you just got chewed out by Uncle Luke in the space. And y'all can let me know if y'all want me to commentate on that video. But you were just getting chewed out by Uncle Luke in the space. But you want to tell us what's working or isn't working? See, that's the egotistical nonsense that I don't put up with. That's why I myself would rather just work within the movement and stay away from any narcissistic people, as many narcissistic people as possible. Because I don't care if you like FBAs or if you like ADOS or if you like Indigenous Americans, whatever you want to call yourself, that's on you. As I told you guys before, I have no ego to inflate. I'm fighting towards a goal for all of us. We're fighting towards that same goal. So if you're over there doing something that we're not doing over here, I'm rooting you on. I'm rooting you on because what may work for us on one side may not work for someone else somewhere else in a geographical location. What works in Texas might not work in Atlanta. What works in Atlanta might not work in California. What works in New York might not work in Florida. So in that, and that alone, I'm rooting everybody on who's fighting for reparations for the descendants of Black Americans, of the freedmen. But when it comes to this narcissistic nonsense where you feel like you should be degrading the other group of people who is still a part of your lineage just because they don't want to follow directly under you, that stuff right there, it's stupidity to me. It's stupidity to me. But then in Atlanta, they had a reparations task force hearing, which this woman attended. And let's see how that went.
I'm Yvette Parnell, president of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation, and we advocate for lineage in terms of the framework. Most immigrants, not just Black immigrants, most immigrants didn't immigrate to this country until the Immigration Act of 1965. So when you look at Plessy versus Ferguson, there is no reason to have a lineage versus race conversation because it's all descendants of slavery. Slavery and their descendants in 1898. We didn't have that difference until 1965 when immigrants began to flow in. Look at the data. 3/4 of Africans didn't get here until 2000. I graduated from high school in 1999. So I want you to tell me what kind of repair an African needs who got here after I graduated Howard University. We're not talking about melanin. We're talking about repair. And when you talk about repair, what you're doing is measuring a harm. Survivors and their heirs. We're talking about who was harmed. And you can't talk about racial segregation and everything that happened without talking about where it was anchored at, right? It was anchored, this racialized caste was anchored in slavery. If you came over here in an airplane as opposed to a slave ship, we're different. We're the only group that has been multi-generationally oppressed in this country for 400 years. Nobody else can say that. I just want to bring up also some comments that was.
All right, family. So Yvette got up there, said what she had to say. And there's multi parts of this clip that I want to kind of break down. So what we have here is now the daughter of one of the people on the task force who is literally an immigrant. She was born in Jamaica, raised in Ghana, and I'm gonna show you. Matter of fact, this is her here, and this is her. You can read it right here. Ann Hill Bond, and is a Jamaican born and Ghana raised, journalist with deep Southern black roots. What the hell is that? Who enjoys the influence of Atlanta. How the hell do you have deep Southern black roots when you were born in Jamaica and raised in Ghana? You were born in Jamaica and raised in Ghana. How do you have deep Southern black roots? Can anybody explain that to me? If you can, please leave that in a comment, because I truly need to know. How can a person who's born in Jamaica, raised in Ghana, have deep Southern black roots? But this is who's sitting on that task force. And this is her daughter, who's about to get up here and tether babble. I know there was some rumors going around saying that the mother, they thought the mother was Jamaican and Black American. No, what I believe is the daughter is the one that's actually mixed with Black American, if that's the case. The mother is Jamaican, raised in Ghana. We just read that. But here, she gets her daughter to do the dirty work. She gets her daughter to start talking about a bunch of nonsensical bull stuff. And then she puts on this political theater. Not even political theater, just theater. Ignorant theater. Trying to make it seem like someone said something disrespectful to her daughter. One, why is your daughter in the middle of a grown person's conversation? When I was growing up, I was told, sit down and stay out of grown folks' business. Why are you running around in grown folks' business? But these folks use their children in order to derail our business from happening. Let's jump into it, family.
I wanted further just to comment that was made. If I can't tell my stories to your, if you can't tell your stories if you can't tell stories to your children, then you can ask people on the task force. I'm trying to the person that you were talking about. And
What in the hell is this girl talking about? If you can't tell stories to your children, if you can't tell stories to your children, then you can't sit on the task force. And I'm the person that they tell stories about. I'm the person they talking about. Who are they, and what are you talking about?
stories that were made, and that was a group comment. Not only that, there was another group comment that said someone needs to be dedicated to the work. Everyone on this board is beyond qualified. You have not been dedicated to your research, because if you did your research on everybody, you wouldn't have said that comment.
Excuse me, mic was off. Does that sound like something that a 15-year-old should be up there talking about at a reparations task force meeting? She would only be doing that if she had a stake in that. And her stake in it is the fact that her mother sits on the task force. So when she's saying all of these people up here are qualified, and if you would have did your research, you would have never made that comment. Well, we did the research and your mother's paperwork comes back dirty. Your mama can't hit the yard because her paperwork is coming back dirty. So what are you talking about, little girl? What are you speaking about? You shouldn't even be speaking about the topic if you are not a descendant of the lineage. Why are you even there? Oh, you're there because they're using you as a voice and as a prop. You're voicing the opinions of what? The panel? Your mother? Whose opinion are you voicing? Because from the way she's sounding, it sounds like she was coached. Let's continue.
Not only that, there's a lot of respect and collaboration in this room. We've been here for a number of minutes, and it's disgusting to see these people who are dedicating, who are talking about the future of Atlantis, who's a South Coast, and can't even cooperate and speak respectfully to each other.
There's a lot of respect in this room. They want to talk about the future of Atlantis, not Atlanta. Fulton County, Atlantis. But they don't want to be nice to each other. What the hell does that have to do with the price of tea in China? But she does eventually get to what her main point is.
And sexual immigration, without mentioning other factors like mixed people, is rude and sickening. Conceptualizing is the first thing that happens when addressing a nuanced situation. Shaming people is disrespectful. And I hope that next time, the next few people or the next people behind me, after that last person, will realize that this is ridiculous. How everybody was dressed, how everybody said the same thing after they said 5 times. I understand it's legitimacy. I understand this topic is very sensitive, but we have to address it full hand and not just shoot at one person or shoot at one topic. Immigration.
As you can see, family, that's what it's really about. That's what our whole rant was about. The fact that we're delineating and people are calling out the fact that immigrants should not be receiving reparations because they do not qualify for the reparations at all. Nor should they qualify for the reparations or repair that should be going to the black community, black Americans, foundational black Americans, or whatever you like to call yourself. Freedmen. But let's continue.
This is ridiculous, and that is rude.
When my daughter said...
So now this woman is about to act as if somebody done said something wrong to her daughter. And then she's gonna crash out and show her tether activity. See, Yvette might not like to call tethers, but their actions show themselves to be tethers. She can go in there speaking the way that she spoke all she wants and nothing changed. There were several of us that went in and spoke on those task force in California with all the elegance in the world, and they still did what they did to us at the end of the day. That's why they got called names. That's why we were holding their feet to the fire. That's why people are showing up where these people are supposed to be, to hold their feet to the fire. So by you sitting there talking your nonsense, he's done with y'all. I agree 100% with Drew. Fortunately, that's not up to him. But this is what these tethers do in order to derail our policies.
When my daughter said whatever she said, she has all right to say it. I think it is very rude for whoever said whatever they said to my daughter or about my daughter, that you had the audacity to do that to a 15-year-old, and you want to stand here and talk about reparations.
First and foremost, one has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Two, your 15-year-old should not be sitting at an open meeting with the descendants of freedmen whose discussion was due to them, speaking as if she knows anything, and she don't, because she's a 15-year-old child. You put her in the line of fire. That little child had no right to stand up and speak whatsoever, especially on a policy such as reparations, when she don't qualify. And if she does qualify, she is a biased mouth. She needs to shut hers. You're not even old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes. You're not old enough to do anything without your parents' consent. So why are you standing here trying to tell us about something that you have nothing to do with? And even if you do, you have no knowledge of what you need to know in that area. You go up there babbling all over the place. But we want to talk about reparations. You damn right. This whole thing is about reparations. And that child has no right speaking on reparations until she's old enough, one, or until she freaking learns what she needs to learn about it. She didn't bring up one qualified point. She just didn't like the way immigrants are getting the finger pointed at them. Well, guess what? Guess what? Eric Mays, Big Baby, let them know.
I want the whole city to know it, and I'm gonna point fingers.
Period, point in black. Now let's get to the rage out.
Go and figure your shit out. Because that's a 15-year-old. That's a 15-year-old. That's a 15-year-old.
Everybody is looking around talking about nobody said anything to the little girl. So you're just basically crashing out for no goddamn reason. Oh no, there is a reason to actually stop the meeting. She should be completely removed from this panel. She should be completely removed from the task force. We don't need people like that. She is openly hostile towards Black Americans. And like someone said, but she got on the mic. You ain't have a problem with her getting on the mic, but you got a problem with people responding to her odd ass comments, her wrong ass statements. Your child went and put herself in grown folks' business, and you think that it's okay? That little ass girl right there stood up in front of everybody, a bunch of grown people, and told them, tried to wag her finger at them about calling out the fact that these immigrants do not qualify and should not qualify for our reparations claim. But you crashing out because of some imaginary person talking to your daughter. Well, go tell your people to not talk about my child. No. You tell your child to keep a goddamn mouth closed when it comes to adult business. But you don't want to do that, right? Because, yeah, exactly. You sent her up there to do it. One part crash out to end this. 2 part crash out because you put your own daughter up to doing that. You thought people were going to clap their hands and applaud the little girl? And you're lucky I had to catch myself because I almost called her something else. When you see your open enemy, you make a list and check it twice. When they're openly hostile towards you, you become openly hostile towards them and everyone around them. Take that little girl and get her the hell up out of here. This is an adult conversation. And if you cannot control your emotions, because that's what this is, emotional manipulation. Remember when I said I was going to get back to it, but this is what she's doing. She's emotionally manipulating the room right now. And she set her daughter up to do what her daughter did. She's 15 years old. She shouldn't be speaking about no policies that's been owed to us for centuries. You and your daughter can go back to Jamaica or Ghana with that dumb shit. Let's continue. You're a blood clot immigrant today? No, you're a blood clot immigrant every day. You fight against us every day. That's what you are. You said that like that's supposed to mean something. You're a blood clot immigrant today. All you do is show your whole anti-black disdain for us. So guess what? You got to go. You got to go. Your blood clot immigrant today, yesterday, and every day since you were born. From Jamaica to Ghana. Pick up your family and take them right back over there.
Fuck out of here. You fucking get the fuck out of here. You get the fuck out of here. You get the fuck out of here. And if I don't, and if I don't, and if I don't,
Exactly what he said. And this is why you don't need to be on the task force. That's it. That's all.
Can't be on the task force, bro.
there was a youth non-tax-paying citizen who made a comment. She was pretty much upset because she felt like everybody was being disrespectful to immigrants. Her mother sits on the task force. Her mother is half Black American, half Caribbean.
And as we just pulled up, no, she's not. She's Jamaican born and Ghanaian raised. Raised in Ghana. So no. But let's get back to what she's saying here.
So the mother got upset because she thought somebody said something to her daughter. I didn't hear it. Somebody said that they said the girl was wrong. It's public comments, so you can have your opinion.
So let me get this straight. This woman spazzes out because someone told her daughter that she's wrong? Think about that, family. Someone told her daughter she's wrong, and she spazzed out that hard. I wonder if she goes up to her daughter's school cussing out every single teacher that marks down the wrong answers on her test. I wonder if she goes down there cussing out every teacher who asks, who knows the answer to this question on the board? And she raises her hand and she says, 4. And the teacher said, I'm sorry, but that's incorrect. You're wrong. I wonder if she goes to the teacher and start cussing him out about that. Because I can guarantee you she doesn't. Emotional manipulation, political theater. Let's continue.
And then afterwards, when the meeting was about to be adjourned, the young lady's mother said, no, we're not adjourning this meeting until I say what needs to be said. And so she began to go off on everyone in attendance. And the thing was, who said it? Address it to that person.
Who said it? Address that person directly. Call out names. Call out names. Or in the words of Eric Mays,
I want the whole city to know it. And I'm going to point fingers.
Point fingers. But you can't. Because no one disrespected that little girl. You put your daughter in a situation to where she could be disrespected, but she wasn't disrespected. Being told that you're wrong is not disrespectful whatsoever. So family, all across the board, these kind of people are working against our interest, and they're trying to blame the Republicans and everybody else. Now the Republican has blame. They definitely have to take some blame when it comes to certain things in the Black community. But when it comes to this type of stuff, ain't no Republican in sight. When it came to California reparations and that bill getting put to the floor, it was actually the Republican that was trying to bring it to light and couldn't get 1 second from not one Democrat in that entire room, and they got a super majority. So family, all of these people, from Gavin Newsom to the CLBC to this Ann Hill Bond character, They can all kiss my ass and go straight to hell. You're all on the list. Oh. We can't forget to throw Isaac Bryan in there too. You on the list too. Each and every one of you bootlicks from the CLBC is on the list. Count your days. Count your days. And with that being said, family and friends, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you hit that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you haven't done so yet, please hit that link to change.org in the description. And please put your signature on the petition for reparations. Family, this is why we're G-checking. This is why we're checking paperwork. This is why we are delineating. This is why. Because a lot of these folk that claim to be for black folk ain't for black Americans. They're for their own. And they don't even claim to be black. But they use it as some sort of label or title so other people, a bell whistle, so other people think that they do. But when they're saying black, they're talking about their own black ass. And to that, I say,
shame on your black ass, all right?